with this television program following them, that they essentially be disbanded and or controlled so that they don't throw incendiary devices like they're in Iraq or Afghanistan in the homes of people in the city of Detroit. So those are some of the basic things, but essentially this department needs a whole revamping, because it's gotten to the point where, and I can say this to you, Amy, with no uncertainty, that people were demanding that the mayor, that the police chief come there. The people were angry. I don't want to see any civil disturbance or any other issues like that occur. So it's really time for the department to be transformed and to do what the federal government has outlined for it to do very quickly, instead of denying that these issues exist. This policy preceded this tragedy, and we need a change in the policy, because if that doesn't happen, then we're going to have more tragedies like this.
Reverend Jackson, you know Mayor Bing.
Yeah, and I tell you, this is what Ron is saying, and I thank him for his continued work. This is a calamity, a policy, and a pattern. I mean, this is a young man in Rockford this year, shot in the church in the back 4 times, and they let him walk away. It's a policeman in Philadelphia who shot himself and said a black man shot him. People went looking for the black man who didn't exist. So there's a racial dimension of this, which is volatile and ugly. In the 60s, when these rebellions took place, Detroit was one of those cities, whenever there was always this kind of police out-of-control behavior which humiliated people. I mean, there must be something done real quick to stop this. Now, I might add there were 7 other killings within a very short period of time in Detroit during the same time. This is really not just this incident or this case, but as a state of emergency. Chicago, 25 people shot within 12 hours, 7 killed. This is a genuine state of emergency across urban America.
We're going to be broadcasting for a week from Detroit in June, and I do hope people tune in. I don't know if you can in any way relate this to this anniversary that you've been writing about, Brown v. Board of Education 56 years ago. But can you talk about Detroit to 1954 and the significance of this, especially for young people who don't even know what Brown v. Board of Education is?
Well, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, we could not sit side by side in restaurants or in movies or in the hospitals or in graveyards. When we tore the wall down, we cannot sit side by side. The gap now is not so much horizontal as it is a vertical gap between have and have-nots. There's a racial component. For example, the housing crisis, where banks were able to target, steer, and foreclose on blacks and browns. A black making $100,000 may have gotten a subprime high-price loan. White making $50,000 may have gotten a prime low-cost loan. The problem is that if I'm in foreclosure, your house is on the water, so neither of us can pay taxes, so we're all in this situation together. So we lose police, teachers, firemen. Chicago, 3,200 blacks die a year from health care disparity alone. Article out in today's U.S. Today about the radical resegregation of our schools, whether it was the privatizing of schools, a voucher system, or charter systems. The dream of learning to live together, the dream of the great society, the dream of model cities, the war on poverty, that dream must be restored.
Well, we're going to leave it there. Ron Scott, thank you for joining us from Detroit, founder of the Detroit Coalition Against Police Brutality. We'll certainly continue to follow the story. In 10 seconds, Ron, what are you calling for right now?
We're calling for the prosecution of the officer. We're calling for revamping of the policy. We're calling for the mayor and the chief to step out, and I agree, offer an apology at the very least for this, and to honor the framework of the federal consent decree. It's within the hands of the mayor and all of us to come together and
we're going to have to leave it there. Reverend Jackson, I want to thank you for being with us as well. I mean, Goodman, thanks so much for joining us.